Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you as always for joining us. This is Miguel Antonio Barragan, aka Fight Fiend Migs, joined as always by my co-host Andrew Don't Get It Twisted Lapache, and this is the Mad Boxing Show, or Mad Boxing for short. Thank you once more for joining us on this lovely Sunday evening, the 20, or I was gonna say 20th. It's the 1st of December, y'all. Like I'm so used to saying like
Oh,
November. It's the
nice.
1st of December officially. Tomorrow is actually my pop's birthday, so we're gonna have a little dinner here, exchange gifts, yada yada. So tomorrow he'll be, good lord, 75. I think he'll be 75. My pop's up there.
Damn.
So
Getting there.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah, getting there precisely. So tomorrow's my pop's birthday. We're gonna have a nice little celebration for my dad tomorrow. Today is the 1st of December, but we want to get in here and talk to y'all because although there weren't many fights on this weekend, there were some fights on the zone earlier Saturday morning. But as far as like relevant fights, not really. As a matter of fact, there won't be one until next week, which is the one that I will be attending. That is Valdez versus Navarrette 2. It's going to be in Arizona, Glendale, Arizona. So I'm definitely going to have a nice little drive down there. I'm going to try to make it to the weigh-in. Oh, sad news for everybody, I'm sure, and uh, Andrew as well. We didn't get approved for media credentials.
Ah,
Unfortunately, got the email saying that they didn't approve us, but that's okay because I'm still going. I'm going to go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna still take my equipment with me. If they let me into the weigh-ins with my equipment, I'm taking it in there. I don't give a fuck. It's just my phone and my microphone is really all it is. But regardless, I'm gonna head on down there and we're gonna have a show. So,
very
but
nice.
after they're in there, that's like the next fight that's coming up next weekend, right? And then after that, of course, we'll get to the at some point. Was it 21st, 22nd? The rematch of Fury and Usyk, but that's later on in December. We're gonna kick it off with Valdez and Navarrete next week. But there were no major fights this last weekend. However, there was plenty of news. So before we get onto all that news, because there was plenty, everything from finally an MMA guy coming out and calling out Jake Paul to this back and forth between Boots Ennis and Vergil Ortiz, back and forth between Oscar and Ryan, stuff we want to talk about, plenty to talk about, even though there weren't many fights. But again, before we get into all of that, Andrew, what's happening, dude? How you doing?
What's up, bro? Um, good. Hey, we had a good Thanksgiving.
Oh
I
yeah, yeah,
forgot we had the
that's
4
right.
day
Happy
weekend, bro.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy
Shit, I totally forgot.
Thanksgiving.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we had a good Thanksgiving. Ate good. Got some shopping done. Was able
Mm.
to get that done this year real early with the wife. So I just got to worry about her, but the kids all got her. Um, Raiders lost yesterday on a bogus play, but it's fine.
Mm.
You know, Miguel, at this point, we're looking at draft picks already. So
Mm.
every loss is like, whatever, we secure a higher draft pick, right? But it did seem like the Raiders got screwed over there in KC.
That's
KC
what I heard.
getting,
That's what I heard. I didn't watch
yeah,
it, but I heard.
yeah, getting another job done by the refs at the end of the game. Like I said, though, it's kind of at this point, it really doesn't matter. You know, that's what it's like. Thank you for that.
Right. Hey, but
my
consolation, right? Because we have San
my
Francisco losing to Buffalo right now, right?
oh yeah, yes, that's making me feel better. That's bringing my football life back right now. Is the 35-10, and we're setting up for a field goal here. Buffalo is so looking to put more points on the board right now. But no, um, had a good holidays. Oh, we met Santa twice. Took the kids to the mall over in Modesto, California. They met Santa there. We took a photo. Freaking told him what he wanted. Then we had a scheduled photo shoot at Bass Pro. Do you guys
Hmm.
have a Bass Pro
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Las
yeah.
Vegas? All right.
I
So
think
they
we have
have a
one. As a matter of fact, just one big one.
yeah. It's killer, right? Do you ever go
Hmm.
to it? Yeah.
No, no, no. But I heard.
Oh,
I've driven by it many times. It's freaking huge.
yeah. It's nice, bro. I don't know if you guys ours. It has a fish tank inside with the sturgeon, bass. They have a little pond that goes through the store that has trout in it. There's like a stream with trout. They have like every stuffed animal you could think of set up in some kind of mountain arrangement in this place. So the kids are always, they're just blown away. They see something new every time they go. And they got a nice little Santa Claus North Pole setup in there. It's all Mountie, right? They got animals
Hmm.
inside with Santa Claus's display. So it's pretty cool. So they got to see him there. So right now the kids they kind of they know all the Santas work for the big guy.
Ah,
That's
there you
that's
go.
what I that's what I got them going on right now. So
That's the next stage. That's the eventual, right? It's like, no, no, no. These guys, it's not the real deal, but they're all in on it.
no, they all work for him. Yeah, I say,
Yeah.
how are we supposed to all get these wishes to him without people working for him? Like they got elves, they also got these Santas that are all helping the cause. Miguel just helping the cause. So
Yeah, he needs the help, right? Can't get everywhere at once. I myself had quite a nice Thanksgiving. I went over to my brother-in-law's family's house. His he had family from California driving to town, so we went over there, got plenty of leftovers, and came back. But damn, I had a hard time sleeping that night because I was like, "Look, I'm full as hell, dude." I was like, "Geez, I ate too much." And we always want to watch it, but I'm like, when you just finish, it's kind of like a potluck style, right? Everybody makes something, and then everybody brings it, and you want to try everything. So we have the turkey, we have the tamales, we have the rice pudding or arroz con leche as we call it, and then everything else. I'm like, fuck. I got home that night. I was like, damn, I need a rest, damn it. And then I only had one day off. It's Thursday because I have to go back to work on Friday. So I had to wake up the next morning like. Dude, I wasn't even hungry for lunch, bro. Like once lunch came around, I'm like, I'm not
damn,
even hungry.
Miguel,
Yeah, just give me a drink or something. Give me some
he's
Alka
like a
Seltzer.
bear. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, I sent you that friggin' that what is it? That Instagram post of that dude, Brandon Fraser in the whale or something. He's like picking grabbing. He's like, what? There's pumpkin pie in the kitchen. All right. Well, um, as I mentioned, there was plenty of news this weekend. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to start with, but let's go with this one first. There has been rumors of a pretty solid fight card coming up in February 22nd, right? That is going to be headlined by Daniel Dubois taking on Joseph Parker. This is, of course, Riyadh Season is going to be over in Saudi Arabia. Check out this lineup because this lineup is pretty damn solid. And it, by the way, the Instagram post that I read said it's going to be live on DAZN. I wouldn't mind paying
The
$20 for it.
zone pay per view. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't say pay per view; it just said the zone. So maybe it is the zone pay per view. I don't know, but I'm cool with paying. I'll pay $30 this year. I
Of
don't give.
course, of
But
course.
headlined by Daniel Dubois taking on Joseph Parker, who's kind of making a little bit of a comeback right recently with wins over Zhang and Wilder, and then Arthur Beterbiev taking on Dmitry Bivol. The rematch, of course, that's going to be worth watching. Then Jaron Ennis versus Vergil Ortiz. We have a story about that later on, so I won't go too depth into it right now. But supposedly that one is on the card. Carlos Adames versus Hamza Sharis. Kind of sort of familiar with those guys, but the middleweights, nothing too much. Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield. Again, we have a story about that later, so who the fuck knows if that's even legit or not. Those are the main ones. There's a couple of other fights on here, but those are the main ones. First off, Andrew, what is your first impression of a card like this?
I see. I have to see it to believe it. He's already put out one of these cards and it didn't come through. Fights were being dropped.
Oh yeah, the one with was it Crawford? The
I
Crawford
think
one in LA?
Ortiz, yeah, Ortiz and Crawford. Um, so I like the lineup, but I mean, really, Bivol and Better Beef. Do you really think it's gonna get turned? I hope it does, Miguel. Like I said, if he starts showing us that he can put these together and come through, then I'll believe it's a great card. Right now, it's all fantasy because we've already seen. Now I'm gonna kind of jump already, but we've already seen one of the fights is not even real. I mean, both sides like literally come out and go, no, not on my side. I will, but
Hmm.
so why are they putting this out like it's already done? His Excellency, he's a pushy man. I don't know how many times people want to make him mad. I know it's not him that's putting these out and knowing they're going to get rejected. I absolutely think his company releases this information thinking everyone's going to get in line, right? And when you don't get in line, you do that enough time. What is the saying? Don't bite the hand that feeds you. They keep biting Victor Ortiz or Virgil Ortiz being one of them. You keep biting this man's hand. He's trying to work with you. He's trying to do something, yet for some reason it's not coming together. I don't know. Ennis, what's Ennis's reason? You know, and I'm gonna jump. I love the card. Look,
If it
let's
happens,
talk about
if it
let's talk
happens.
about the fights that are still on it. The heavyweight fight's a great fight. Dubois and Parker. You're absolutely right. Both guys have made a comeback in their latest fights. They're winning. They're on winning streaks. They haven't met each other yet. That's a big plus right now in the
Mm.
heavyweight division because
A
there's
fresh
been so
matchup, yeah.
many. Yeah,
Mm.
exact. They're a good way to say that. Fresh matchup. Um, and deserving. So I like that. It's a good main event. Yeah, Dubois, because man, a lot of people think Dubois got robbed in the Usyk, so he's well deserving of this fight right here, this defense. If you put the two fights that he had back to back with AJ and Usyk. Um, and what's the other?
Better Biev and Bivol. What do you think about that? Well, according to this post here, that's the co-main event. Do you think that's deserving of a co-main event, or should that be? Because I mean, it's the undisputed light heavyweight championship. Granted, it's not the heavyweights, but it's not the top heavyweights. It's two other heavyweights. But according to this post here, it looks like it's the co-main event. Better Biev and Bivol rematch.
This would be the first sign that Mr. Ali Sheik is a businessman, and that even though he likes the matchup and it's well deserving to be a main event, we already did it as a main event. You guys didn't bring in a fucking ticket sale.
Mm,
I'm not
mm,
doing it again. This time you'll be a co-main to make the main that much better, because it is. And I don't
mm.
even know if that's the correct way to say it. My wife's probably gonna smack me when she rehears this, but it's just a better card if you put that as a co-main
Mhm.
instead of the main. It's just it makes whatever card better. You know what I mean? It makes it that much better. So I think that might be our first sign that he isn't all about just putting fights together and losing money, right? Because we've
Mm.
seen him do this main event, and unfortunately, the crowd did. Remember, I think that's the one where we talked about those dudes that were dancing in the corner were fake. Those are all of his employees. I
Yeah.
want to say that was the B-ball fight where I was.
They're just like chilling. And it's like, all right, guys, dance, dance. Oh, go. Okay, dance,
Yeah,
dance.
yeah. This place looks dead. Live now,
Yeah.
dance. I don't even know
Gross.
if he
I'm trying to
sounds
get
like
hot.
that. I
It's
don't
like
know
no
why he
confetti.
sounded Spanish. I don't know
It's,
why.
it's all the
Even
same.
Manny. Have you seen Manny's Ireland accent?
No, I didn't know you had
It's
one.
better than ours, bro. It's
Okay.
better than ours. We could hire Manny fucking Pacquiao if we wanted to,
Yeah.
Miguel.
We're gonna get some AI guys here to do some translation and some better accents because for some reason it doesn't matter if you're Better Biev or if you're His Excellency, we're gonna all sound Spanish. We sound like Sandor
We're like a B-rated movie over here, people.
Yeah. It's like just dub us over, you know, do the subtitles. You guys know what the fuck we're saying. So those two, there's two fights on here that we don't even know is going to go down, which we'll talk about. Ennis
Excuse
and
me.
Vergil Ortiz, right? Those are the ones that we're not even sure is going to happen. That's one. Shakur and Schofield. Again, we're going to talk about in more depth a little bit, but those don't seem like they're going to go down. Carlos Adames versus Hamza Sharis. The Hamza Sharis guy, I think, is undefeated, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if he's a belt holder or not, but these are middleweights. Adames is a middleweight Dominican Republic dude. That one is most likely going to go down. Pretty solid fight. Not not the most recognizable names, but that one's going to be pretty solid. And then Zhang, the
But see
Chinese.
how
Uh, huh?
the card loses a lot when you take Ortiz and Ennis off of it, right? When you take Shakur off, but right now Shakur and Schofield is a no deal either. Like right now, people, we know for a fact on Sunday night that two of these fights have already been declined by the fighters. It's not even a um rumor. Excuse me. So the card loses all of its luster when you take those names off. So His Excellency, they need to do a better job of securing these fights before doing these announcements because yeah, it just became non-news in like 10 seconds. Now what is news is Ennis and Ortiz's lack of wanting to make this fight. And I say that because both men have been dying for a huge fight. And they don't get any bigger than what's in front of them right there. Them two on the same card underneath a bit nice heavyweight fight that's being backed by guaranteed money. How do you go wrong? This to me, this is the biggest fight either man. Like the whole Terrence Crawford thing, they both need to let it go. In my opinion, they need to let it go because His Excellency would have done it already. He had both of them there for the option to give him Terrence right now. Um, Ennis, you don't know what fucking division you want to be in? Are you serious? We're back to that one? I could have swore last week we were announcing you're 154 now. Weren't we talking about Ennis after his last fight? Wasn't almost a given that he was leaving the division?
Mm-hmm.
It
That's
makes no.
precisely what it is. Oh,
So
go
he
ahead.
looks scared now.
Mm-hmm.
Now it looks like, oh wait, the reward doesn't match the risk. So I'd rather fight Barrios because Barrios looked terrible. Hey Eddie, can we unify? Because that guy looked bad.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of that was part of what I was thinking because that was going to be one of the topics. But I because here's the thing: of those two fights, we're talking Ennis and Ortiz, and then Schofield and Shakur. We'll get into Schofield and Shakur a little bit later on because I don't think that's going to happen either. But starting with Ortiz and fucking Ennis, after his last fight, right? Ennis was in the ring and being interviewed by Mannix, and Mannix or asked him, how do you rate yourself? And the first thing out of his mouth was, I think it's time for me to go to 154. All
There
right,
you
so
go.
right off the bat, he's saying, cool,
There you go.
154, right? And then he kind of goes back and forth. He flips up a little bit. He's like, if none of the other guys want it at 147, then fine, I'll go 154. It looks as though that was the direction he was going at that point. Moments later, his promoter or promotional company, Eddie Hearn, he's interviewed in the ring, and he says, yeah, if that's what's going on, if his performances here is because he's depleting himself so much to get to 147, then maybe 154 is the next step. And then for a second he goes, I would still like for him to unify 147. Like he throws in his 2 cents. Look, I get it. Every promoter thinks that their guy is the best in the weight class. I get it. I think that's Eddie Hearn saying, you know what? I have the best dude in the weight class. He can mop the floor and clean up the division and take the belts off of everybody else at 147. And that means I got myself an undisputed champion in my stable. Oh, fuck yeah. Let's do that. I think that's where he wants. And I think to some degree, he's going to kind of push Ennis to stay at 147 so he can
Now,
do that. Huh.
I would have agreed with you 48 hours ago, but recent interviews is telling a totally different Eddie Hearn to me. We're seeing a totally different Eddie Hearn on this subject. I don't know if you guys are noticing, but he's putting a lot of this on Boots now. Oh, well, this is Boots' decision. Boots needs to make a decision. I don't know if you heard Miguel. He even said he went in as far as going, if he doesn't take this fight, I can't get him anything until April.
Mm.
Bro, almost, what would they, he fought in what, October, right? Was it November or October?
Oh geez, I think it was mid-November, so about 3 weeks
Okay,
ago, something
so
like
a
that. I
month.
think. I
So
think.
he's gonna have him off for 5 months. We would say
All right. All right.
that's almost half a year. I was gonna say half a year. That's 5 months.
Mm.
Um, yeah. Does Ennis want to be off for that long when he can have a fight in February, right?
Mm.
Um, so Eddie's kind of telling him he's gonna sideline his ass if he doesn't take this fight. Then Eddie in another um interview said that he needs to make a decision whether he's going to keep the title or give it up. Like Eddie's not saying we at all anymore, you guys. When you
Yeah.
watch his interview, sorry Boots, you guys aren't in the same boat anymore. You're out there drifting on your own right now, buddy, because he's trying to save his ass with his excellency who's taken over the sport. And I'll give you my reasons why. I've been telling you guys it's going to happen. It's happening. It's still happening. We're seeing evidence of that right now. What's playing out with Top Rank, but but yeah, Eddie's like, no, I can't piss this man off again. What was he mad? He's mad he didn't get him Canelo,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's having this fucking happen all over again with this guy not even knowing what division he wants to be in. We all know that Al Heyman don't really like sending his guys over here. Does that have anything to do with Boots? He is signed to Al Heyman as an advisor, if I'm not mistaken. Is he still a
Still,
manager advisor?
last I remember, he left PBC. To what degree his connection with Al Heyman is, I don't know. But As I understand it, he's a matchroom dude, but I don't know what connections he has to Heyman still. As I understand it, he's a matchroom guy through and through as of now. But beyond that, I don't know what connections
Yeah,
they
if
have.
he's still a manager and an advisor, whatever
Yeah,
else title was before the PBC started, right? I believe it was advisor because he didn't have a license. I think he kept putting himself down as an advisor. Is that holding him back? Either way, I'm done with the Boots fucking bullshit, man. And I've been done with it. And I've been telling you guys this guy's a fraud. Now they're putting right in front of him a pay-per-view co-main event, probably the most money you've ever made. Oh, I got something on the money too. The most money he's ever made in his career. And you know what? I don't know. I'm so popular. I don't know what I want to do.
let me read some of these posts that I saw. This is kind of the back and forth that has been going on, right? Starting with Vergil Ortiz. I've always said I'll fight anybody, and I remain true to my word. Every single person that I have been offered to fight, I said yes. It takes two to tango in boxing. So if I'm not in that ring fighting someone, know that it's not my fault. Time for some of you guys to stop saying I'm ducking and don't want to fight, because that's not the case this time. It never was 100%. All right, fair enough. This is what Boots' response to that was. I seen the rumors on social media just like y'all did as far as the fight with me and Vergil. I was unaware that alleged negotiations was being made on my end. From here on out, if it didn't come from me and me only, don't believe it. And I will address if I'm staying at 147 or moving to 154 at a later date and time. So, so he's
He
trying to
just don't
clean his
want.
hand.
Yeah, he
I mean,
doesn't want any part of February, bro. He's like, I'm just gonna sit here and be quiet until His Excellency announces that fight, and then he'll start talking again. His Excellency to
uh,
go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, what was going to be your point? You said you had a point about money too.
His Excellency to PBC fighters, and I'm still thinking he is one, so I'm gonna say he's still under Al Heyman's advisement. They're like Debo. When he's in the room, I'll be quiet, but when he's leaving, I'll be talking again. Remember when Red said that on Friday? That's
On Friday.
fucking Boots Ennis. Eh? I'm just gonna be quiet while the fucking fight is still on the table. The money. If I was His Excellency, all right, look, he's gonna go off. He's gonna fight someone at 147. I keep saying Barrios because he's to me, the guy that gives you the biggest paycheck there,
Yeah.
right?
Well, of all the other three champions, he's the one that most recently looked the worst. So.
And there's that, but he's who else? They got the Bird check, right? The other guy is
No,
Eastern.
the Stanionis, who is rumored to be on the Gervonta Davis card in March, but Stanionis is one, and he's Lithuanian, and then the other one is Brian Norman Jr., the American, who's with Top Rank,
Okay, all right. So
and then Barrios, of course.
yeah, Barrios is still the cash cow out of those three. So that's why I keep leaning towards Barrios is what I'm thinking. Ennis is going to go after a pay-per-view fight with PBC. But if it's not successful, bro, that title is not going to mean shit to His Excellency. His Excellency is not going to give a shit that you went out and won another title. I would bring back a lower fucking guaranteed purse. If he doesn't go with your plan again and makes you look like this foolish again in the media, one, he's on the brink of not even getting another shot with His Excellency, or two, they're going to come with the lower guaranteed purse. You got to be real careful with this guy with the game they're playing now because he has all the pieces, right? There's a few out there. Like you're saying that he might go and pick up here, but eventually it's all going that way. I want to say Zanis putting his name in the pot without Bob Arum saying it is another piece of that pie of these guys aren't even giving a fuck what their promoters are saying anymore. They're going out and making their own deals, and I don't know what contract wise how Arum can stop it. But he didn't stop Anderson, right? He let Anderson go through with the fight,
Mm-hmm.
even though he didn't want it.
Mm-hmm. They threw him a whole bunch of money, as I understand it. Because I mean, even Manick said it when Anderson was entering the ring. If they have had would have left it to Top Rank and Bob Arum, they wouldn't have taken that fight. But they threw a whole bunch of money at him, so who the fuck knows there? This is what Xander Zayas has tweeted on Twitter. He says, "They gave me an hour to say yes. I said yes in 1 minute." And he he tags Vergil Ortiz, Top Rank Boxing, not Bob directly, but Top Rank, Turkey, Ali Sheik, and then Golden Boy as well. So he tagged those guys in that, but obviously Bob can't force him to say or not say what he needs to say, but I'm sure there's going to be some repercussions in the back end that we're not going to see. Is it going to be another one of those situations where once more? Because keep in mind, as of right now, we don't know if it's just Ennis out of the way and Ortiz is still on for the 22nd of February. If that's the case, then they're just going to maybe potentially toss in Xander Zayas there. So that fight is still possible, or Ortiz is still possible for seeing some action on the 22nd. It's the one that we're not sure of is Ennis. That's the one that we're still unsure about. But if that's gonna happen, shit, I wouldn't mind. That'll be pretty badass. That'll kind of sort of, I mean, not save the card, but it's like, wow, that adds a little bit more, notoriety to that fucking, to that card. And it'll be a lot better if we don't just scrap that fight entirely and leave Ortiz in the card, on the card, and then bring in Zayas if that was the case. But is that gonna happen? Is Bob is gonna be like, yeah, sure, go ahead? No, I don't think so.
What I'm wondering is if he has the energy for these lawsuits, these court cases anymore. Like, right, if you don't do what these kids say, it seems as of recently, they'll just take you with the Ali Act, right? Oh, what? I couldn't make some money? All right, he's racist, Ali Act. I need to get out of my contract now, and that fucking will lag on for a year or two. The guy's no one's making money. We're only spending money with these lawyers. What if Bob's just like, I'm just done? You want to fucking go fight for him? Fine. Hey, you're going to fucking lose. Get out of here. Right? And just sends them on their way. Listen, we heard about, I don't know if you heard the rumors about Boak, I believe is the heavyweight that knocked out Anderson.
Yes, I'm trying to remember his name.
Block.
No. It's like two syllables.
But his last name, isn't it Bloke?
Baloki.
There you go. I know, something like that.
Close enough.
I was totally off, but you know what I'm saying. I spelt it right.
Close enough.
If you spell it right, people, it's the same as getting it right, man. This is just all there is to it. Anyways, did you hear the rumors about him knocking out Usyk and oh shit, who was the second dude? He knocked out two badass heavyweights. They're saying he as a sparring partner. You don't think Top Rank knew about that stuff?
Yeah, of course.
Their matchmakers are probably like, Anderson, this guy's not a scrub. He's knocked out the heavyweight champ.
Yeah.
So
that's
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm saying I heard rumors about that. I don't remember who the other person was.
Yeah, who was the second guy
behind that? Yeah.
So and the insiders know about this. The matchmakers, they know when the heavyweight champ gets knocked out in sparring. That's pretty big news. So I don't listen. Do I like the fight, Miguel? I'm going to say yes, but it's only because of a name. Xanis really, if Xanis goes in there and gets,
Xander. Zayas is the last name, but
Zayas. Excuse me, Zayas. If Zayas goes in there and gets knocked out in a few rounds, dude, he wasn't ready. And nobody ever said this kid was ready for Ortiz. No one was pushing for this fight, but we know him. It's sort of like the Schofield Shakur thing. Yeah, we know Schofield, but nobody was like, oh, Schofield needs to get a shot at Shakur already. Nobody was calling for it. And the same goes with Xanis. It's a future fight, yes, because Puerto Rican, Mexican, I get it. But is it going to sell more pay-per-views? I don't think so. I don't think the kid's that known. I really don't. I think he's still a rising prospect at that, at best, So Yeah, I just Schofield, Zanis. I don't know who's making these decisions on bringing these kids up so quick, but we seen it already didn't work, right? We seen it
Mm.
didn't work with Anderson. So and you can also probably say that same for the young man that fought Terrence Crawford that only had 10 fights, right?
Yeah,
He did
Marjama.
he did so good, you guys. Could you imagine if they brought him up correctly, what that fight might would look like?
Yeah, and you know what's funny that I had thought about this because there was a point where for Top Rank, Top Rank is always trying to look for their next Miguel Cotto, right? Is usually how it is. And they had Berlanga and they had Xander Zayas, right? And things didn't work out where Berlanga, he ended up taking off, but he secured himself a big money fight. Granted, he lost, but he secured himself a big fight. I wonder if Xander is looking at that and saying like, shit, maybe that could have been me. Like maybe I could have jumped that quickly and got a big ass money fight. Could that be one of the motivating factors saying like, well, put me in that undercard, it's going to be a big money fight. It might not be obviously Canelo type money because he's not in a weight class, obviously, but the next best thing, I suppose, is being on an undercard like that with His Excellency tossing a whole fuck ton of money at him. I wonder if he, for a quick second, is like, well, Berlanga got a big money fight, but by just jumping into the deep end, am I going to do the same? Can I jump into the deep end? Maybe I'll come out wins. I don't know. Maybe it's just a roll of the dice. I may end up getting my ass beat, but I'll get a nice big payday in the meantime.
Puerto Rico's dying for a superstar. He almost fits that mold. He's from the island. He's young. He can sell tickets. We've all seen that, right? He's a good-looking kid. The girlfriends will like him. The boyfriends will want to be him. That sort of deal. Um, don't go too fast for $1 million because I'm sorry, Ortiz is not Canelo's payday, right? At least
Mm-hmm.
Berlanga made 5 million, not just made a few hundred grand. Because I really don't even know if that fight breaks 1 million, him versus Ortiz. Maybe for Ortiz it does. Maybe he gets 1.25 million or something like that. But you guys, if Terrence Crawford's only getting 2 million, these other guys aren't getting that much. They're not. They're not. So no, I don't think the money is there for what the potential that Xanis has. Now, with that being said, I've been kind of questioning Top Rank's drive in this sport anymore. It's been a long time since Top Rank made a Manny Pacquiao, right?
Mm-hmm.
Manny Pacquiao is Manny Pacquiao's peak is quite a few years ago. They haven't made anything since then. His peak. So they've had potential, and the guys, for whatever reason, didn't pan out. They left. They didn't get the fights. Terrence Crawford, we all know, should have been making Floyd money if he was managed like back in the day with HBO. He would have walked through all of PBC's fighters and would have been the 10 million, $20 million guy. He sort of did it already, but Danny would have fallen to him. Ugas would have fallen to him. They all would have fallen to him, bro. And when HBO was controlling this sport, all of those guys would have been in line because there is no, oh, he's on the wrong side of the street. HBO is the
Yeah.
only fucking street you want to be on, right?
Mm.
So Terrence was robbed of his greatness in that sense. I know he's still great. He's still going to the Hall of Fame, but he won't be as high on the all-time list as he should be. Terrence should have been a lot higher than where he's ultimately going to land. Um, so Top Rank hasn't done it in a while, man. So maybe Xanis is like, look, I go into the office, Bob is fucking eating soup.
Yeah, he doesn't even know I'm there. He's just like, oh,
Yeah,
who's here?
doesn't know. Asked me my name like 4 times in the last
Yeah.
2 years.
He's like, hey,
Yeah,
where's my
yeah.
drink? Like, I'm not your guy. Like, oh, sorry, where's the guy? The guy's supposed to bring drinks.
He's all. Every time I see this fucking dude, he tells me about Cotto. If he tells me Cotto's story one more time, I'm gonna hit him
Oh
with my
shit.
fucking coffee mug. I swear to God. Say Cotto's name
Uh,
one more time, old man. Hey, yeah, he's having a fire like you.
yeah.
Man, what weight are you, kid? Well, you don't even know my weight, you fuck.
He's like, Cotto was a home run hitter, fella. Cotto, he had home runs, okay? He sold pay-per-views, young man. You show some respect to the Kodos.
There might be a little bit of that going on, Miguel. There could be where Xanis is like, yeah, he's not there anymore, guys. I couldn't argue it if that's what's going to be coming out of Top Rank here soon, that he's just a little out of touch right now because he's not making the fights anymore. We've got guys that are jumping ship for whatever reason, starting with Garcia, right? It starts all the way back there. Then the Manny Pacquiao, and then more recently Berlanga had left, and it just we all know the fighters that have left Top Rank, and so there could be a little bit of that. But long short, sum it up, I do not want to see Xanis fight Ortiz. I would rather them deliver the Ennis Ortiz fight. That's the one that's ready. Xanis, let's build him. That could be a guy. That could be a Puerto Rican right there that could take His Excellency's company into the future, right? So strike a deal with Bob Arum to bring the kid on the undercard and start working him up properly. Probably bring in, hey, ask around. Is Bob Arum out? Does he want me to buy? And then buy Top Rank's matchmaking, because there's second to none. Top Rank they know how to do this shit. They probably just don't have a leader anymore. The leader's kind of, Joe Biden now. You know what I mean? He's living off his name. He's Al Davis in the final years of the Raiders' legacy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's living off his name. He probably can tell you the shitload of stories of the 1970s, though, right? Then you go, Bob, what about that kid you signed last week? Who? The fuck is he? Fuck that kid. He's just recent things. He ain't doing it anymore. But and it's all right. I've been asking that for Bob. Bob deserves a very expensive fucking retirement home with nice nurses, nice food. You know what I'm saying? Like, the he's 90. What did they say he was the other day? 94?
Oh, shit, I don't remember. He's in his 90s. He's in his low 90s.
He is in his 90s, right? Yeah, it's ridiculous, bro, that this man, they're making him fly around the world still. I know he don't want to do it. That's bullshit. He wants to be at home, dude. Shout out to Lee, eating soup. He wants to be at home, right, eating soup, man.
So you would much rather it be either Ortiz, Ennis, or if that doesn't happen, scrap the fight entirely. Don't try to save anything. Salvage or with Zayas at least.
If it has to come at another prospect getting annihilated simply off of timing, then no, I don't want to scrap the fight. I don't want to see the fight, because I haven't seen Xanis even in a fight that tells me he's ready for Ortiz or ready for him.
Yeah,
I can see if he was an Olympian. There was a lot of media behind him, right? He's always the main event. No, he's barely been getting into that. He barely struck the main event role, and he's not an Olympian. He comes from a very humble background where he was an amateur, but not, he's not Fernando Vargas. He's not Oscar De La Hoya. And what I mean by that was, even though Fernando didn't win the medal, he was like on the Ring magazine before he even fought in the Olympics. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. No.
Fernando strikes the cover of the Ring magazine before the Olympics, bro.
Mm-hmm. Shit, I didn't know that.
So you understand? Like, this kid is barely being built up. I don't want to see him rushed as Anderson was, and we all seen how that ended. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I'd rather see Ennis. Ennis, somebody needs to tell this guy, enough with your diva. I swear to God, have you ever seen someone with so many demands who hasn't done shit? Oh, I don't know if I'm going there. I don't know if I'm going here. Oh, I don't want to fight that guy. Ennis, you've been hiding something. I've been telling everyone they're hiding something from us. And he does it again, and it strikes again with the bullshit.
Well, that's why I posed the question last week or the week before after his fight. Is he one of the last PBC hype jobs? Because people leaving PBC left and right, and we don't. Again, I don't know what connection he still has with Heyman, but as of him jumping ship to Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, he's been putting on some fights, not the best fucking fights. He's still winning, of course, but is he one of the most? Is he probably the last? Because I don't know how much longer PBC is going to be afloat, but is he one of the last PBC hype jobs out there? That's kind of the question I posed recently.
And it's pay-per-view co-main event, and you're acting like this isn't the biggest moment of your life. It's kind of pathetic. Pay-per-view, co-main event. Come on, it doesn't get any bigger than that, Miguel, for him. It really doesn't.
Let's toss in one of these other fights that we see. It seems as though it's not going to happen. Shakur Stevenson and Floyd Schofield. Now, um, recently there's been a lot of talk back and forth between Oscar and Shakur. Essentially, it was understood, or at least it looked as though the Zepeda and Shakur fight is off the table because Zepeda injured his hand. I thought they were just going to postpone it. The fight was still on, but apparently now it seems as though Shakur is going in another direction. Um, he went as far as to say he's going to go after Schofield. Okay, well, now it lands on this rumored card for the 22nd that it's going to be Shakur versus Schofield. Well, Oscar De La Hoya says, no, dude, like, what the fuck? He comes on his clapback Thursday talking about Shakur, saying, like, really, Gal? You guys are going to after one of my prospects? You guys sent an offer to one of my prospects. So, according to at least Oscar, an actual offer was sent. This is Shakur's response to that. It seems as though he's now changing his tune and setting his sights on Raymond Murataya instead. He says, don't call me wrong for what I already knew. This is Shakur saying this. I knew from the jump nobody was going to let me get in the ring with that little kid, talking about Schofield. That was just me calling his bluff. That's all. Murataya's next. Will Bob allow his investment to fight me? Talking about Murataya because he's a Bob Arum top rank product. So now Shakur is kind of taking a step backpedaling a little bit, saying, no, I wasn't really calling out Schofield. Come on. I was just a bluff. It was just trying to call your guys' bluff. If this offer was legit, if what Oscar is saying is legitimate, and there was an offer sent, that's not a bluff, dude. That's like you're fucking legitimately going over that. You're actually going after Schofield. I don't think they would try to call his bluff by sending an offer, depending on what amount it is. I don't know. But regardless, it seems as though now he's kind of backpedaling and saying, no, I want to go after Murataya next. Will Bob Arum let him fight me? So now
If it
we have
was, oh,
Schofield
go
and
ahead.
Shakur. Oh, I was gonna say. So now we don't have Schofield and Shakur on that card. So now that's the second fight out. Go ahead.
If it was a bait and switch, it was a real bad acting job, right? By Shakur. Bad opponents, Schofield, Murataya doesn't make me like lose sleep. Like, oh man, this is so much better. I can't believe this fight is the one that's gonna take place. So, I don't know what it was, Miguel. To be honest with you, I don't know if it was them just being desperate right now, looking for an opponent. Um, it was a weird call out. It really was. I don't know where Shakur is right now, mentally with the call out like this. And Oscar is totally right on how do you go out from calling, champions, uh, pound for pound ranked guys to someone who's not on the radar at all. Um, so it was a weird call out for me. But being Murataya.
Yeah, Raymond Murataya.
Morataya. Would that be on the February card or is that for a later date?
That's a good question. I
This is
would have to
bad.
assume because Murataya is not. First off, he just came off a great win. I think second round KO or TKO. So he looked like badass in his most
Right.
recent fight. So I would most certainly would be interested in a fight like that. But considering Murataya isn't a name like a humongous name yet, I think they don't have to really pay him that much. And I think that he's probably going to be a great fit for that February 22nd fight or a card because his payday, his ask for money isn't going to be as great as someone like, let's say, Cepeda or something like that, right? But my point is, I think that fight, it would still be slated for the 22nd of February. I don't think they would go with another date because there's plenty of time, as far as recouping, because Shakur himself is coming off of injury as well. So I think it's still going to be, even though that post was just Shakur kind of, backpedaling, it didn't specify when he wants to retire or anything like that, or even if that's a legitimate possibility. But I would have to assume it would stay for that 22nd date.
Well, it's a decent fight. Um, Yeah, it's a decent fight. If Top Rank agrees to it, he's 22-0-17. I just looked it up. He has a Tevin Farmer victory. A recent one that you're talking about is a fight, gentleman Campos. I
Hmm.
guess he stopped the guy Campos.
Hmm.
With the Farmer fight, that kind of got him out into the big waters. Even though I think that one went, I don't remember that one being as successful. I thought he had a hard time with Farmer. Am I mistaken on that, or was that Farmer's last fight here?
No, no. Farmer's last fight was against Cepeda when he dropped Cepeda, and that was
So
Farmer's
that's
last
the
fight.
one where
So it was
he might
before
have.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So yeah, that's a decent fight. It still doesn't make any sense on why they called out Schofield. To me the bait and switch thing, that doesn't seem like those were the names that would have got went viral. Most of the time when you do the bait and switch, you want to do the PBC way. Call out Terrence Crawford and then go, you're on the wrong side of the street. I'm actually fighting Joe Blow from Cuba.
Yeah.
Do that to us. That's usually what the bait and switch is. It's really never I called out a prospect. Oh, just playing. I'm gonna go fight this lower champion. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So weird call out for Shakur.
Yeah.
Maybe it's for the future, dude. Maybe that's the one that they're planning. They're gonna bring up again in a few years, right? Where Schofield is ready to make his run. Just
Mhm.
throwing shit at the wall.
That could, I mean, could be a possibility. I mean, I would much rather have somebody else than Schofield. It just seems like, even if, because Oscar says in the clapback that they received an offer, he didn't specify any specifics on the offer. He just said that they received one, and I don't think he would have taken it. I don't think he would be like, because
Yeah, like
in
what
the
is the
clapback he
offer?
said, yeah, he's like, you're gonna go after one of my prospects, really, dude. So I don't think Oscar was really gonna legitimately let him do that. But you know, it's it seems like too much of a fucking bluff. Like if he's really trying to call their bluff, like if they're really gonna go that far to send an offer, if that was the case.
And
Um,
then
it,
and then all right, so and then if it is a bluff, Schofield accepts. Let's say he's dumb as Ryan Garcia is, right? Accepts any offer, dehydration, don't care, I'll do it, blah blah blah, right? He's one of these guys. Are you gonna tell him, oh, I was just bluffing, dude, I really don't want to fight you? Come on. And here's the other thing I was just thinking about. We need to play close attention to in the future if we ever see Shakur and Schofield in the gym as friends. Because if they're friends, well, this was nothing more than Shakur trying to get his young buddy, some advertising, some promotional. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Here, let me put your name. I'll put your name in the news real fast, dude. So we got to watch out for that. If these two are doing mitts with each other in the next in the next year or so, we're gonna know this. That's what this was a setup. This was never on the radar. He was just giving his guys some viral time, some hits, getting them some hits, man.
that's pretty possible. I mean, I don't know. I would like to see if that, like, well, maybe we should pay close attention in the next couple of months, I guess, to see if maybe like we see them together at a gym or some shit like
It sounds better. It makes more sense than his stupid. I was just calling his bluff.
that. Yeah. Geez, damn it, Shakur, you and your shit. Okay, but besides that, the card seems. I mean, removing those two fights, that makes the card look a little bit more legitimate. I don't
Yeah.
think those guys aren't going to be on there, or are going to be on there. Um, but anyway, on to the next topic. In regards to offers, it was recently announced, or I guess reported online, that Teofimo Lopez made a couple of offers to get some fights going. One, a rematch against George Kambosos Jr. Two, against Devin Haney. Now, this one, again, boxing is basically a he said, she said type of shit. So you kind of don't know who to believe sometimes. It sort of depends on who has the proof. If there's tweets here that prove that XYZ person said whatever. But this is what he said, right? This is, I believe, on X or Twitter. This is Teofimo Lopez. He says, we sent reasonable offers to fight both to Team Haney and Team Cambosos. Both have declined. If you don't believe me, ask Top Rank Boxing and ask Bruce Trampler. Now, I'm not that much of a boxing insider, so I don't know who the fuck Bruce Trampler is, but yeah, we learn
Come
something every day.
on, bro.
Or the fuck that guy is. Please tell me who that guy is, because I don't know what that motherfucker is.
That's a matchmaker at Top Rank, dude. That's the guy that
Okay.
I'm always talking about.
Oh, that guy. Oh, I know who you're
Yeah,
talking about. Shit, I didn't put the name to the face. I know who you're
yeah,
talking about now.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So yeah, so basically he's calling these guys out, right? And somebody actually posted like a reply to him saying, "What's a reasonable offer?" Because he puts reasonable in quotes, saying like, "Come on, Teo, did you really offer them some shit or just table scraps?" So Teofimo goes as far as to reply to that guy and says, 2.4 million guaranteed with a 55-45 split on pay-per-view shares. Now, I don't know how much Camboso's made recently or has made recently, but $2.4 million doesn't seem too fucking bad with a 45-55 split, at least for Camboso's. Haney, I kind of sort of understand. I mean, he's coming from somebody like fighting Ryan Garcia to Teofimo. I'm pretty sure the money's not going to be the same, understandably. So maybe I can understand to some degree Devin Haney's perspective as far as turning the fight down. Now, Camboso's, I don't know. He's kind of becoming, as a matter of fact, me and our good friend Sam Navajura have talked about it. He's kind of become a gatekeeper now, right? So this is not a bad offer. Number one, you get to fight the dude who you already beat, and it's a nice little offer on pay-per-view. On top of that, pay-per-view points. What do you make of this?
This is what I make of it. You ready?
Please tell me. Lay it on me.
Me and you can make an offer, right? We can come back next week and go, ladies and gentlemen, we made an offer to Devin Haney. I wanted Miguel to fight him. We offered him 2.5 million and 55-45 of the pay-per-view. Unfortunately, he said no, so he's a pussy. And we're gonna move on, right? We can say that. I want to know. Was this offer backed by Disney? Was it backed by ESPN? Was Bob Arum's signature on this offer? Or was this Teofimo and his dad writing on a fucking napkin what their vision was of a pay-per-view fight and was like, Devin, check this out, bro. You know how much money we would make if me and you fought? Come on. Well, where's your bot?
So check this out. In that tweet, he did, a tag. It says ask Top Rank.
Yeah, ask. Yeah.
So, I mean, that sounds like they backed him, no?
It says ask them. And maybe they go, yeah, he gave him an offer. I need to see the offer. I need proof that it was actually from a reliable, guaranteed money source and not, I guarantee you will make this from Teofimo and his dad at the bar. And I don't mean that they're I'm just saying them at the picnic. Them fishing. Yeah, I know his dad or he's linked to alcohol.
Like, guys, you had to throw that in there.
Yeah, I picked the wrong setting, Miguel.
You might as well. It's like, writing down on a napkin at a strip club, guys, because there's be anywhere else, but there.
The story just sounded fishy when he was like, I offered him. What do you mean you offered him? Why don't you say my promotional Top Rank offered him? Bob Arum offered him. Right?
Would that have made that much of a difference? I mean, like,
in my eyes, it does, because, like I said, anyone can offer anything. If doesn't Teofimo have his own promotional company? What was his little saying? I thought it was after one of his saying. Takeover? He doesn't have Takeover promotions?
I don't know. That's a good one. I know Haney does.
Because that's what and they could have used Haney. Like, oh, why are we using anyone? Let's just do it, me and you. And Haney's like, no, bro, I'm not into that. We already know Haney's out of the fucking self-promoting bullshit. He doesn't like the whole bidding on himself thing. He's like, wait a minute, I actually got to bid and then pay myself? When do I start making money? Dumbass. Who is that dude from the 70s show? The dad?
Red.
From this Red. Yeah, he's always in my head. Dumbass. Whenever you hear that, that's Red, when you hear me say that. I love that dad.
Oh man. So all right, so let's look at these. It doesn't seem likely that Haney would accept a fight like that, right? Why not Camboso's? Why don't you think? I mean, I got one. We'll go as far as to say, all right, go ahead.
Have you heard the rumors about Camboso? What he's other linked to?
No, just he signed
Shakur
recently.
I heard Camboso since Shakur was on the table for his excellency.
Well, I don't know if it was on the table, but I know that I know that Kambosos was calling him out.
No,
Are
I
you thinking
believe.
that Shakur, that Kambosos can get more money out of fighting Shakur than he can off of Teofimo?
Yes, because I think His Excellency puts a plan out for you. You got to remember that man does not care if you lose. We've seen that with Wilder. We've seen it with Zhang. We've seen it with the heavy, the guys that he's already put in. I think Pitbull Cruz lost the fight, came back immediately, fought for him. He does not care. Excuse me, about losing. So he might have told Cambosos, "Hey, you step in, you fill in the gap. Cepeda stepped out. Schofield is a no. No one wants to see that shit. I'm dropping that fight. If you step in and take him on, I don't care if you win, lose. I'll have you fighting in 3 months again, dude. That's two checks for one. For one when this one's only offering one. And honestly, Teofimo Lopez's pay-per-views don't guarantee shit. I don't give a fuck that he's telling me we're gonna make money. What if only two people fucking order the fight? Right now, we've seen a lot of more marketable fighters not succeed on pay-per-view. What would make me think Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos is going to do any type of numbers that would make me flake on the dude who's handing out $1 million checks? That guy's guaranteed money right now, and he's guaranteed fight dates. He's only getting bigger. It's another sign of I think Camboso seriously looked at Lopez's deal and was like, no, dude, this is for one fight when I have a future right now, at least two fights with this man, and they move on.
So okay, so I'm trying to paint a picture. Cambosos is holding off because there's a possibility that he might fight Shakur, maybe even on that February 22nd card,
Yes.
perhaps, right? Maybe
Yes.
that slot is still open for him. So he's like, nah, I don't want this. Even though it's against somebody he already beat, like like Teofimo. He would
Yes.
like because you did mention that by and large His Excellency doesn't care about losses. So if Kambosos comes over here, fights Shakur, gets a nice hefty payday there. Even in losing, His Excellency is gonna be like, "Look, I got you. We'll put you on another card in a few months. Boom,
That's
there's
right.
another payday. Regardless of whether or not you go in here and put on a good performance, and we'll call it a day." That is a much more lucrative deal than saying, "All right, I'll fight Teofimo Lopez for X amount of dollars over here." That's kind of the picture you're painting.
Yes, no, absolutely, Peyton. And you're going to go to Saudi Arabia. If you ever wanted to travel to Saudi Arabia, your chances of getting there are better through His Excellency than anywhere else. I'm serious. I mean, the guy has been fighting on this Riyadh thing. So you know you're going to go see Saudi Arabia. You're going to get paid. He's got Cepeda probably ready to fight him if he's there's other opponents that are it's just a better fit for Cambosos to see what it's like with His Excellency. That's all I'm saying. And I think that's what you're seeing here, why they're stalling on Lopez. And I've got to go back to, does ESPN want Cambosos versus Lopez too? I definitely know they don't want it as a fucking pay-per-view. I know that. So he better bring in a lot of views on so they can put that on the ESPN Plus app. But it's just I would have loved to seen this Lopez article with his actual promotional company attached to it. And I don't mean by a hashtag. I mean by either Bob Arum announcing it or Bob Arum is the one who sent the contract. Bob Arum's the one who got in contact with Eddie Hearn or Golden Boy, whoever the promoter is of the fighter that they're looking for. Let's get that out there, not Lopez just fucking on some podcast going, "Oh yeah, I offered him a fight, man. No one wants to fight me," because that can all be hot air. That could all be on a napkin. It really could be.
Yeah. Hmm. So is that so? This is kind of what I'm trying to think.
Oh
Should,
wait,
uh,
I got one more. Cambosos, we will know about within this week, I believe. That February 22nd thing is going to get announced here pretty quick, so we're going to know where all this plays out. But that's why when Lopez had those two turndowns, and we know Shakur is looking for an opponent, and I believe I've already seen Cambosos and whoever Schofield were both
oh,
linked to
okay.
Shakur. Let's see how it plays out because I do think Cambosos is in the running to get that fight. I believe I've
Does
already seen that.
do you think Shakur wants that fight? And I ask this because number one, he calls, Oscar's bluff by offering something with Schofield, who's in it with another promoter, and then the same thing with Morataya, who is with Top Rank, but with Cambosos, which is a much easier fight to make, just signed with Matchroom. Does that even interest Shakur at all? Like, do you think he's interested? I mean, chances are that fight might end up happening regardless. But does that seem like I mean, I'm trying. I guess what I'm trying to ask is why would Shakur take that fight?
He's young enough to take anything right now. Shakur is at the beginning of his run. Kambosos is not a bad fight for him. So Mortaya, sorry you guys, I'm gonna get that name wrong until I get it right. But he's he's not a bad fight for him. Either of those guys are really good step-in opponents for the Cepeda dropout. So
Mm,
so and I don't think Shakur has an issue with either fight. They're both going to get him paid. They don't raise his legacy, but they raise his stock. If he goes in there and handles either opponent, I think his stock goes up against who would Tank or Lomachenko or whoever the dream match we're going to put him in with next. So because that's another name that's still out there, right? That's another guy who kind of disappeared here. I think he was injured, probably had to clear up an injury, and then he's going to make another run at this. But he's another name that if they're working a deal with um, Shakur to fight him, you might want to take on the lesser of the three guys that he's looking at, right? So maybe
mm,
that's why Cepeda wasn't pushed down the road. Maybe they're like, "Oh, you got injured? All right, well you're out because we need to fight now because in the summer of 2025 we're taking on Lomachenko in the lightweights." So
mm.
that could be why that fight wasn't rescheduled and actually just thrown away. And then I would agree with the Schofield thing. I still think is a little. It's a garbage. I mean, it's not a garbage fight. It's just he's not on the radar at all. There's nothing
Yeah.
there. You know what I mean? That would be a total like, where did this guy come from? It'd be hard for the diehard to sell the fight. You know what I mean? So that one is a no. But Murata and Cambosos are both sellable for step-in opponents, big time.
All right. So we kind of painted a picture as to why Cambosos wouldn't have accepted the fight. For Haney, I mean, of course, this is all considering that the offer was legit, right? That
Right,
the offer
right.
from Top Rank and Telfimo is legitimate. Um, is it just money? Would that be the only reason why Haney doesn't take that fight? Because he mentions Cambosos and Haney. They both turned it down. We kind of already sort of figured out, or at least connected the dots as to why Cambosos won't take it. Haney, why? Just money?
Yes, because we don't know behind the scenes how good of friends Haney and Garcia really are, because they have a kind of a big cash cow to cash in on, right? A big ticket to cash in on that fight, the rematch
It's
at
gonna be
one.
a while though, no? It's gonna be. I mean,
No,
when
we're
when is
already
he
in
gonna come back?
January, bro. I mean, they could
Oh,
legit call that. They could legit call that his next fight, and no one would care. I mean, we're in December, dude, of
mhm.
24. If Ryan's supposed to be coming back in April, we already know he's training. He's going to be training for this exhibition that he's got himself into. So he's training for his comeback. This guy is like a sparring match for Ryan's comeback in April. And I'm not saying that it would be Haney, but what if both of them had a fight on the same card to promote their fight for later that year? You know what I'm saying? Haney's looking at a lot more money than 2 point something million. If we're. So he might be telling Ryan, I mean Telefimo, no, that's just not enough money. I've got he can do one fight with whoever at 147, and then he's got Ryan Garcia and him are going to make 40 million the night they fight.
Each.
So it, maybe it's possible. It is possible because that fight was pretty big. I could almost see if that, especially if they strike while it's hot. Don't wait fucking 2 years, a year and a half down when no. Oh, when didn't those guys fight when they were a lot younger? Like they gotta strike when the shit's hot with these casuals, man, and then they will pay attention. I mean, I think I think Mike Tyson and Paul Schoen, 60 million people were still interested in America and watching boxing. So, and what I love is 29 million went back to the highlights. Damn.
Yeah, we'll get to that
Damn.
shortly because we do have another story
Oh,
regarding
okay,
that.
good.
But
Good, good, good.
on that note, we were talking about momentarily there Ryan and Ryan Garcia. So this is one of the next stories that I found here. Well, I mean, it's kind of going back and forth, but there has been some talk, right? That we mentioned it last week, how Ryan could just participate in this exhibition fight, kind of a loophole around his suspension, going to wherever the hell the fight's going to take place, Japan. I don't know where the fuck it's going to be at, but he's already over here wanting to have this exhibition fight, which kind of seems like, well, then what's the purpose of this, suspension that he's going to have to go through because of the issues that happened with him and I guess the fallout of him and Haney. But Oscar says, "No, dude, like." Nothing's going to happen until we say so. And for whatever the hell reason, it seemed as though that wasn't the case. It almost seemed as though Oscar and his team were saying like, no, this is not how it's going to happen. Like, I don't know who the fuck told you can go out, just go on, do this shit without us giving you the green light. So they were kind of going back and forth. Let me pull up this thing here, which is kind of well, I don't really understand what's going on, but let me hear. We'll start with what Oscar said first in Golden Boy. Golden Boy Promotions has exclusive rights to Ryan Garcia's fights. The organizers of this event have the event talking about the exhibition fight with Anpo says have acknowledged as such and have agreed in writing that our sign off is needed for this event to occur. So they're acknowledging that, hey, you have that deal with Oscar. We can't do anything until Oscar gives you the green light. As no such sign off has been given, as of today, there is no event with Ryan Garcia. So they're saying, hey, we haven't given you the green light. What the fuck are you doing going on these damn press tours, announcing the fight or I guess promoting the fight? Because as of right now, there is no fight because we haven't given the green light. Ryan Garcia decided to clap back at that. And of course, he does it on social media. I think it's Twitter. And he put a lot of these dumbass like clap emojis. He says, I think I need to drop a clap back as well. Okay. He says, you said it was okay while I was at your offices with no objections. Also, Eric Gomez, is on record saying he is glad that the exhibition is happening and you guys had full knowledge. Even was even was invited to the event, so even they got an invite to the event. All of this was written in Oscar's clapback voice. Oh, that was stupid ass. It was him saying like everything that he's saying here sounds like he wants it to sound like Oscar's voice. But so he's saying hold the front door. You said it was okay. So what the fuck is this about now? You and your clapbacks. Again, this is more. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Once again.
I was gonna say once again a very he said she said or he said kind of thing. We don't know who the fuck to believe, but the fact that these guys are once again going at it on social media obviously is an indication that their relationship behind closed doors is probably not as smooth as we believe it is. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I wanted to be a lawyer at one point in my life.
Really? How long ago was that?
I don't know, in my 20s or something. Because everyone said I argue good, right? I argue good.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
You're a good. You're a good. I'm trying to think of the word. There's another word for it.
I like finding weak points. I like finding weak points in arguments, right? I like finding the bullshit, right?
Okay.
And I hear a lot of bullshit in Garcia's little. Well, you guys knew about it. Well, here we go again with the vague statement, right? It could be anything. You guys knew about it. You guys okayed it. Yeah, okay, okayed it. What did we okay, Ryan? What was okayed? Well, you knew I was gonna do it. Okay. So we said, okay, yeah, you could do an exhibition. Does that mean you could go fucking do it on your own? No, it doesn't at all. All we did was give you the permission to do it. Give me more details on what the okay was about. Give me more details. You know what I'm saying? On what Eric Gomez was happy. He was happy that you're having a fight? Or did Eric Gomez say, I'm happy that you're negotiating your own fight? Because those are two different things. Sorry, bro. He's your promoter. He's supposed to be in the room with you when you're negotiating. Last time I checked, Ryan Garcia has accepted a rehydration clause at the disapproval of his promotional company, told them to fuck off, only to then blame the dehydration for the loss. Ryan Garcia then accepted a bet of his whole check. No, Ryan, you are not the guy we want to negotiate. Hey, look, I barely want your fucking boss in the negotiating table, but I clearly don't want you. You negotiate with your ego, right? If they poke you enough, you'll fuck it. Let's do it, dude. That's your attitude.
Yeah. Yeah, and his for real, no cap, for real, dude, let's do it.
Facts.
Yeah, there you go. Facts. No cap, bro, for real. It's just busting.
So tonight there's a lot of this. Yes, he said, she said, but there's also a lot of they're not giving us a whole lot in these answers. You understand? You can see right through these answers as they could be total bullshit. Ryan, because Golden Boy said they're happy for you does not mean you negotiate your own deal. It does not mean that they don't want any part of it. Don't put our name on the banner. You know what? We don't even want a piece of your check. This is going to be a free one to you, buddy. You take 100%. Get the fuck out of here. There's a reason why they're your boss, right?
Yeah.
Miguel, they put so much money to get Ryan where he's at. Who cares if they benefit a little off of him? They put the kid where he's at. That's one thing that these fighters nowadays, they're hella missing that. They really are. You can be as great as you want in the MMA world, right? But if Dana White and the UFC doesn't want you, are you making $1 million, Miguel? Probably not, huh? Probably if the NFL and the Major League Football or NFL Football League doesn't want you, are you gonna make $1 million playing football?
Not likely.
Probably fucking not. Canadian League ain't paying that, right? The
arena football.
Yeah, arena football ain't paying that. No. So you can have all the skills in the world, bro. You still need the men that put you in that position to make that money. They got to benefit too. They got to profit somehow. That's how the sport gets running. It's how the NFL makes their money. That's how boxing makes its money. Like, stop it already. I'm so fed up with the fucking, I do all the work, they don't do anything. You wouldn't be shit without Oscar De La Hoya giving you the avenues that he gave you, Bob Arum, Eddie Hearn, Al Heyman. For whatever these guys have done, they've still given these guys avenues that they wouldn't have no other way, right? So I'm always siding with the promoter. I'm always siding with it doesn't, yes, learn how to read. Okay, sorry. And if you don't know how to read, which, hey, I don't know how to read. You see me fuck up names all the time. Guess what? I'm smart enough to get a lawyer that knows how to read, right? I'm smart enough to have someone in that room that's on my side that's going to read that contract and tell me word for word what it means, right? So if you can't do that, if you're not smart enough to do that and you get hustled in one of these contracts by Al Heyman, Don King, Eddie Hearn, or any of them, it's your fault at the end of the day. We're all fucking adults, man. We're not children. We're all adults when you get into this pro league, right? So that's, Ryan, yes, I think Oscar and them did say approve for you to fight. That doesn't mean they wanted you to negotiate your own fight. There's two different things there. So if you come back and tell me, no, wait, that's not what I meant. I meant Oscar told me to negotiate my own fight. Well, then I'll be like, well, Oscar's a prick because now he's going back on what he said. But if he just told you, yeah, I'm happy that you got a fight, we will work on it.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
It seems weird that, like, I don't know who, like, I'm looking at the the press conference, right? Like, who the fuck put that together?
It's Japan.
Yeah, because, like, I look at the banner, right? It says Garcia versus Anpo, December 30th. It's a Monday. Fanmeo.com. Does that ring a bell? I remember hearing Fanmeo.com for something recently, and I don't remember. Was it the? Oh, geez.
It's probably the Pacquiao fight.
Was it Pacquiao or what? Wasn't Crawford? And I know that was His Excellency, but I'm trying to remember what it was. I could have sworn I saw it. It might have been on Crawford and Madrimov, but that's what it says on the banner, on the back of the banner, right? For this press conference, because I'm like, well, if Oscar's not putting this together and they're not, they're not the ones that are green lighting this fucking thing, then who the hell put this press conference together? And I'm looking at the video right now. I'm like, what the fanmeo.com?
From what I remember off the Pacquiao fight with this kid, this young man is an up and comer in the kickboxing world. I don't think he's even a real boxer. He's a
No, I don't think he's a
kickboxer.
boxer either, but I think he's much more established. I think he's got like
Well,
20 some
he's a
fights.
kickboxer.
Yeah.
So he might, that could be the Japanese, I don't know, whoever likes kickboxing could be putting this on. Maybe they're saying, hey, this guy is as good as, he's as good as boxing as he is kickboxing. They'll have him do some exhibitions. He'll look good, and then he'll go back to world championship kickboxing and have a bigger name because of what he did against these guys. I'm just throwing shit out there, but when I seen the Pacquiao fight, I could have swore he was big in the kickboxing world. So and Japan seems to always be doing their own thing, right? They had the Pacquiao exhibition and they've had a Floyd Mayweather exhibition. So somebody has money out there,
Yeah, to get that fight together, because I saw the press conference and everything, and I was like, well, if Oscar's not putting this together, like,
And
who's making the calls here? Who's the hell's who's getting these banners printed for the shit?
and bro, both of the Pacquiao and Mayweather exhibitions, no American promoting at all. Those fights were not aired in America. There was no pay-per-view. There was no Netflix. Like, they are paying those dudes from straight whatever audience viewership numbers they're getting over there. Whatever is going to the I don't know if they're fighting in the casino out there where these fights are being held at, but they're not relying on American audiences at all for either of the Mayweather or the Pacquiao fight weren't aired in America on mainstream.
Let me see, where the hell is that even taking place? Garcia seems it says Tokyo. It says Tokyo, but it doesn't specify like the arena, because I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a humongous arena, is it? I mean,
I don't know, bro.
It says location. Oh shit, dude, that's a big ass. It's called the Saitama Super Arena. That's a big ass arena. That's a stadium, damn near. They've had a lot of like MMA fights there back in the day, and that place is huge. I don't know if it reaches like the 70,000 rank, like as far as attendance. I mean,
right.
But it's a big ass arena. I figured they weren't gonna have it, and maybe a decent sized arena. I don't know, 15, 20,000 people. The Saitama Super Arena is fucking huge. So that's what it looked like, at least, that this fight is happening with Garcia and Ampo. So you're, at the end of the day, you're saying, yeah, I'm going to side with Oscar on this one. Chances are it's Ryan that's full of shit.
Yeah, of course. It's Ryan being Ryan. One of those loophole. Mom, you said I could do it. It's like, yeah, I said you can do it. I didn't say it was a for sure yes. Let me talk to the parents is what I told you. That's probably what Oscar said to him. Tell his promoter to call me. You said I could do it. I did not say that. So, if he gave better Ryan, just come back with a new tweet that says, Eric Gomez congratulated me on negotiating my own fight. That's the tweet we need to see. If they did not tell you to negotiate your own fight, then there's no fight. That's all there is to it without Oscar in that building. And we've seen it done on all platforms, MMA and boxing. Don King has done it. Dana White has done it. If they're not a part of it and you're under contract with them, you're not fighting. That's all there is to it.
All right. So that was the most recent he said, she said that we saw on the news. You briefly mentioned Floyd Mayweather for a different reason, but another story this weekend is one of his proteges came in, was supposed to have a fight this past weekend, and didn't exactly go the way we hoped, because it didn't even take place. It turns out that Mayweather's protege, Kermel, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Moton, Moton. Turns out he came in for the fight like 14 pounds heavy. He fights normally at 130 pounds. I believe he weighed in at 140 something. I think this fight was going to be at lightweight. I'm not entirely sure, because his opponent weighed in at 134 and change. So I thought that's what it was going to be. Even though Kermel actually campaigns at 130, that's like his actual professional weight class. But I think this fight was going to happen at 135 because his opponent came in at 134 and change. But looks like Carmel came in at 148.7 for that one. So this is, I believe this fight was being like promoted by Swift Promotions, which is Danny Garcia's promotional company, and not off to a great start, I guess, if like the main event ends up getting canceled because of it. Um, Supposedly there was some sort of communication error. Something was lost in translation here because apparently Carmel is saying that his blood work was lost or misplaced by the athletic commission, so he was under the impression that the fight's not going to happen until they find his fucking blood samples, which to this day I don't even know if they were. I think this was a couple of days ago, if the samples were found or not. But it seemed as though everybody else, including Danny Garcia himself, were under the impression that the fight was still on. Even his opponent, because his opponent still weighed in and everything happened. So basically, he comes in at 148.7, 14 some odd pounds, heavy as shit, right? And of course, there's no way that the fight's going to happen. His opponent decided, like, no, hell no, it's not going to happen. And the main event gets scrapped. I believe the event still goes on as usual, business as usual, I suppose. But the main event gets scrapped, and not a very good look, very unprofessional on Carmel's part. He's a young cat still, right? He's like 18, 19, right? So I understandably people make mistakes, but this is kind of way off the mark. Like this is not the granted you're a very young dude, but you are still at the end of the day a professional, and you still have to fucking make weight. According to Danny Garcia, he was under the impression the fight was still on, saying, okay, he's still gonna make weight, and we're just gonna basically wait until those samples come in or are found, and that is going to determine whether or not the fight goes on or not. So a lot of miscommunication here. Not a good start for Swift Promotions here. The main event gets scrapped, and not a good look for Floyd Mayweather's protege. What do you make of this?
There's more to this story than they're giving us, I believe. I'm not buying the kid pulled himself out of the fight because he was told. Who told them that whoever told them that they lost the blood samples had to have told them the fight's over. So who was it? Give us his name. It's got to be someone close to Danny. Danny should already know who went into that kid's locker room and told him, "Hey, we lost the samples. Fight might be over." Right? This shouldn't be like a very.
Well,
We don't need
it
Scooby
had to have
Doo.
happened. It had to have happened some time before, because by the time weigh-in comes around, it's not like it happened recent, because otherwise he wouldn't be that fucking fat, that overweight, right?
Yeah,
It had to have happened maybe what, a week before you cut down to 135 or whatever.
I don't. Miguel, why do you even get on the scale? If you know the blood samples are
Yeah,
missing, you're not
well,
gonna
that's what I'm
fight.
saying. Somebody eventually said like, "Hey, we're still gonna fight. We're still gonna win." He's like, What? Well, since when?" So I don't know. He had to have been told some time ago, like maybe a week and a half. I'm thinking, because if you're still training up until let's just say, let's use this example. He was told about this blood samples being lost 3 days before. He would probably be a lot closer to the weight at that moment, not so fucking out,
No,
overweight.
no, not if he didn't give a shit. No,
Why wouldn't he be giving a shit beforehand unless he
because
was told
if
beforehand?
if he legit thought the fight was over, he might have went out and ate breakfast and dinner that night. That's 14 pounds. When you're in the shape that they are, they're fighting shape. Putting on 14 pounds, we've seen that done overnight when they rehydrate. So him just going out and going, hey, you know what? Celebrations on me. Yeah, it sucks I don't get a fight, but let's go have a good meal. I've been starving myself. And they went and had a great meal. He could have gained that easily. And the thing is, why was he on the scale? If this fight wasn't gonna happen, who's the fucking person that told him the fight wasn't going to happen? Because that we have to know that. It wasn't like he was passed the note. It's not like he woke up and a pigeon was at his fucking front door with the letter
Yeah.
attached to his foot. So why didn't he just come out and go, hey, Danny, it was your fucking manager that came to my hotel room and told me the fight was over. The samples are not there. There's something else to this story. I think they try to pressure the kid into signing to fight a guy that was 14 pounds heavier. And more power to the opponent in his team saying, fuck you, we're out. That is the right decision when someone tries to bully somebody in a situation like that. Why he was 14 pounds over, I don't know. I really don't, but I don't believe that it was
So
because
what's your best estimation? Like, is that they were just trying to
money
bully the opponent?
issues, money issues. Maybe it had something to do with money. They didn't think they were going to get paid, so they're like, "Fuck it, just eat. We'll show up on the scale. What you are, you are. If they want to fight, we'll fight. If not, we're going home."
You don't think they would have just said that? Like, instead of making up a lie, like, or I mean, if that is a lie, that the blood samples were lost, you don't think they would have thrown Swift Promotions under the bus and been like, no, these motherfuckers aren't going to give
That
me shit.
still might happen. That still might happen. Let's
Okay.
let this thing, the dust settle a little here. But no, I don't know if it had to do with these samples. It just seems weird, bro. Like, why wouldn't you just tell us immediately? Well, no, it was Danny. It was either Danny Garcia himself that came to my team and told me the commission had misplaced my samples, the fight was off, or whoever runs Danny's promotional company. But for Danny to be like, well, I don't know, and he doesn't know, and everyone, no, that's too much unknown there in a situation like this. So I think there's something else they're covering. Maybe Danny came out and said, "Hey, ticket sales weren't what I thought they were going to be. We got to think of something to pull you guys from the event." Floyd probably ain't giving no discounts, right? So the
No.
kid might be, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? He might be like a $30,000, $15,000. Yeah, he makes 15 grand a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's like, dude, I didn't sell fucking a grand 2,000 tickets tonight. So could be
Although
something
they
like
claim
that.
they claim they did, because I saw an interview with Danny saying like, "Oh yeah, fantastic turnout, yada yada." Of course, I didn't actually watch the card, which I didn't at first. I didn't even know that the card was going to happen anyway. Like, once that main event got scrapped, I thought they were just going to do away with the event entirely. But it seems as though they continued anyway, because Danny was interviewed afterwards and kind of sort of touched on. He kind of gave his opinion on what happened. He just basically chalked it up to just a lack of communication or miscommunication. He didn't exactly take blame for it, even though he's the promoter. To some degree, he kind of has to. He's the one. He's the face. He's the one that's gonna have to put the face forward and be like, yeah, something happened. I dropped the ball. At least be like, I fucking accept responsibility. This is my card. I'm running this shit, and something like that didn't happen. But he seemed like he was trying to kind of clean his hands of this. Like, oh, I don't know what the fuck happened. Some sort of lack of communication. I thought the fight was still going to happen. As of right now, I still thought the fight was going to happen. So
Could be a lack of funds.
that seems more likely, I would say, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't know what other business ventures that Danny Garcia was successful in, because his clothing line wasn't exactly, flying off
The
the fucking.
clothing line, the twins' freaking music career, that didn't blow. And you know what? I don't like picking on the girls, but when are these girls going to grow up already? We're like 10 years into the Danny Garcia career, and you guys are still trotting behind them like little thirsty little girls. You girls are old,
We're
man.
almost at the end of the career of Danny.
Yeah, dude, don't you guys have men by now? Like, don't haven't you moved on? You're still in the club singing your song. That's a sad song. Hey, it always looks so weird, bro. Like, he always has his two little sisters around him. They got no guy. It's like, would you really want your sisters? You're bringing. I don't want to be sound vulgar, but you're bringing the meat to the party. You know what I mean?
And you're bringing the bait. You're bringing the bait
Yeah.
to the fucking.
Hey, tell Danny to come. Hey,
Uh,
you got the twins.
yeah, tell him to
You
bring the
know,
sisters. Tell him to bring the sisters.
that's been said, Miguel. Almost
Yeah,
every guy has talked about their guy's friends' sisters when the guy parties with them. Correct? They're
yeah,
gonna be brought up in the conversation. You party
right.
with them.
Hmm.
There might have even been a friend that dated one of your sisters if you literally have them in the same room partying together too much. I
Hmm.
just don't know why Danny has always brought those girls around, and I never see any men around these women. It's always like those are his play. I don't want to say it, Danny, but you look like Hugh Hefner with two playmates sitting behind you. I just got to say, the way the girls dress, the way they look at the cameras, it got a real creepy vibe. And
You know
I
what's
seen them.
crazy?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say,
I was going to
um,
keep going.
I didn't want to interrupt that. You were going on that great tangent, and
Ay, ay,
I don't
ay.
want to interrupt those famous Andrew Lepachet rants. But I'm watching like a quick clip of this. It looks like, I don't know if they're singing, but there's like a quick 2-minute clip of them in the ring. I guess the night of the fight, like walking around with the microphone. I don't know if they're singing here. Let me pull this video up. But are they rapping? What the fuck are they doing? Are they just? Oh, they are. They are singing. They're they're in the
So
ring. What I mean? It's just they're
I'm
just doing.
telling you,
I don't know. It's like
Dude, he had
that,
one. He had one picture where one twin's holding the other one's chest from behind. I was like, Danny, no, no, this is bad, bro. This isn't good.
it's almost one of those things like, yeah, mom, I'm gonna have a promotional, I'm gonna have a fight, I'm gonna go put on this fight. Okay, take your sisters. Like, oh gosh, okay, bring the fucking sisters.
And all they want to do is fucking, they just want to act like girls on music videos. Like, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. But
Yeah,
whatever.
it is.
We're almost, like you said, we're almost done with the Danny. And then Danny's career is just about finished, right? Laura ended that, correct?
Well, I believe during the interview, well, here's the thing. After the fight, he didn't definitively say that he was done, although it was pretty obvious that he just didn't have the heart anymore. He
Right.
was done with it. It looked like though he was hanging them up. And in that interview that I watched earlier today, where he was asked about the Kermel incident, and he was like, the lack of communication, yada yada. And then he was asked at the very end about fighting, and he was like, oh, maybe I got one more 154-pound fight me in, because he
Mm.
fought Laura at 160. So he kind of leaned towards coming back maybe one more time at 154. I don't know what for. It seemed as though he just didn't have it in him anymore when he fought Laura. It could be any number of things for all I fucking know. Maybe he just didn't want to fight a middleweight. Although, you know, if you hear him say it, he's just daring to be great. So it's him thinking that he's actually doing something by going to 130 or I'm sorry, going to 160 and fighting a 40-year-old and 41-year-old in Laura. But it seemed as though he was probably going to come back to 154. At least that's what the interview implied. Whether or not he actually does it is another story, but it seemed as though that's what he was trying to say. Which is not a good idea. Danny, if you're listening to this, just actually considering how bad that show was, maybe you should come back. Fuck. Maybe that's what it's like. Let me bring in some influx into this event here and bring some money into this shit, and let me go fight somebody at 154. Yeah, fill in, fight Ortiz, please, on the the February 22nd card. Okay, so this one you might like. I think you might like this one quite a bit. Andrew, oh damn it, why the hell my damn it always happens, and it happens in the worst possible times. Come on now, I'm trying to get my camera to focus back on me. It usually focuses when I go onto the side. Okay, if it's not doing it, it's not doing it. But I'll let you go on your rants here, Andrew, because there we go. You've said it many times before during this Jake Paul experiment. Why aren't any of the MMA guys coming out and just saying, "Hey, fuck you, I'll take you on," right? Because
Right.
there's a lot of boxers doing that, right? There's boxers left and right calling them out. Everyone from Daniel Dubois to a retired Andre Ward, even Chavez Jr., right? So a lot of boxing opponents, but not very many MMA guys. Well, finally, I guess somebody does. Somebody who's not tied to the UFC or Dana White in any way, shape, or form currently. Of course, he is retired. He is Quinton Jackson, or Quinton Rampage Jackson, who peaked in his career back in 09, or roughly around there.
Yeesh.
So he's 46 years old now. He had quite a run, I will say that. He fought in Japan, made a name for himself over there for the organization that the UFC purchased eventually. He came to the UFC, became champion in the UFC. He was something for a little bit, a couple of title defenses, eventually loses, and then kind of goes back and forth, flip-flops. He fights for Bellator. He comes back one more time for the UFC. Then they let him go for sure. And most recently, I think 2019, fights Fedor Emelianenko, the famous Fedor Russian fighter, and he gets TKO'd in one round. Which, if you ask me, I kind of think he took a dive because it didn't look like he really tried that fight. I think he was just there for the payday, frankly. But whatever. Bottom line is, he comes out and calls out Jake Paul, right? Because Jake Paul is out here talking shit about Conor McGregor, right? Especially with his most recent issues that Conor was experiencing with going to court with these sexual assault indictment, or I guess charges. So he's calling out, Jake Paul calling out Conor, and this guy, Quentin Rampage Jackson, comes out and says, "Yo, Jake Paul, watch how you talk about MMA royalty." Says, "I'll fight you in MMA, no weight classes for no pay." Says, "That's a great deal, I bet, right? I bet you won't, though, because," I think I probably skipped a little bit because I wanted to read Jake Paul's here. Jake Paul says, "Dear Conor, I know you told my team that you would fight me at 170. That's never happening." Obviously, Jake Paul's fucking huge. So it says, "But let's run it in MMA. No weight classes, just like it used to be. But you won't. talking about Conor. So here comes, Rampage saying, yo, watch what you talk about MMA royalty. I'll fight you in MMA no weight classes for no pay. That's a great deal. I bet you won't. Stop disrespecting people in my sport. It's just my fucking sport, homie. You fighting Tyson was the last straw. Go back to boxing wrestlers. So as of right now, I don't know if there has been any response. Um, this seems like a kind of a stretch. If Quinton Rampage Jackson's name sounds familiar to any degree, he almost fought Shannon Briggs, I believe, earlier this year in one of those kind of fights. I believe it was going to be a boxing fight, if I'm not mistaken. But I think at some point there were actually in some serious negotiations, Quinton Jackson and Shannon Briggs in fighting, in a boxing fight. But as of right now, it seems like this is the only person, at least coming from the MMA side of things, to call out Jake Paul. And I want to say other people have, but it's been like, illegitimate. I don't know. I know there have been others, but as far as like making it this known here, I think this is kind of like one of the probably one of the more realistic fights that actually might take place. Now, Quinton is huge. At least he is now. Back in his heyday when he did fight professionally, he fought in what is considered light heavyweight for MMA, which is 205 pounds. Now he's heavyweight, he's fat, of course, he's retired, well into the 250s, I have to assume. So seems pretty big, but if Jake Paul is interested in fighting in an MMA fight with no weight classes, well, of course, he's going to pick on a guy who's smaller in Conor and not a guy who's bigger like Quinton Jackson. But go ahead, Andrew, sign off.
Um, it's an interesting call out. No money is the one that stands out the most because Paul has the power to make this fight and then call him out on his bluff, right? And I don't think Paul would give him no money, but you could hella underpay the guy right now,
Sure.
right? And make a shit ton of money.
Mm.
If Jake Paul wanted to further slam the MMA world, he would take this fight. And look, Rampage to me, I mean, you guys are saying '09. I was thinking more earlier than '09 was his heyday,
It was maybe '07. I think
Right?
'09 was probably around the time that he started becoming less relevant, because in the early 2000s is when he made his name. '04, '05, I think '07, '08 is where it peaked, and I think '09 is where he started to kind of come down. He has fought, I think, in the UFC. His last UFC fight, I want to say, was 2015, in which he actually won. So 10 years ago at this point, or 9 years ago. But yeah, obviously way far from his prime at that point.
From his prime, from I think the training that maybe Jake Paul is doing right now,
Mm.
he's nowhere near that. It's Jake Paul has all the moves right now. He can really go anywhere. I see this fight with with Rampage being a success if they do it in the MMA in the cage, because Rampage does have a name, and I think the MMA world would totally buy into this kid, and like we did with Tyson. And when I say we, I don't mean me, because you guys knew from the top I never wanted that fight.
Mm.
But I'm saying we as in the boxing community. 60 million people watched. So someone fucking tuned in. Someone bought the bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So I think that would happen, unfortunately, in the MMA world too. You'd have a lot of old school diehard guys like, nope,
Mm.
Rampage is way too much man for this dude. I don't give a fuck how old he is. He's like the Tyson effect, right? He's just too much man, blah, blah, blah. And then he'll get in. We'll see they can't even move, and we're all getting fucking old, and we're not
We're in
buying
denial.
into it. Yeah, my whole generation's in denial still. Nah, well, we'll kick his ass. Don't give a shit. He's 57. He's gonna kick. Oh man, he looks like shit. It happened twice to these poor guys, dude. Evander and Vitor. That was a disgusting fight, bro. You remember that Vitor? Fucking Evander's
Sure.
falling down when he's swinging.
Yeah, on his own. It's not even from a punch from
Like
fucking
that guy's
backdoor.
just losing their minds.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So um, am I interested in it? No. I think I would watch it if I wasn't doing anything that night. I would watch it, but this is not. Rampage is a little too old. I want Conor. To me, Conor is a perfect matchup for him. But to me, Rampage, and look, I got to bring it up, Miguel. They said it mentally. I thought Rampage was gone. I could have swore they
Oh,
did a
this
documentary
guy
on
thinks
CTE.
this guy thinks the Earth is flat. Just to give you like
Yeah,
an
I
indication. You know.
I could have swore they did a CTE like thing on MMA, and he's like one of the main characters there talking about like his demise. You know what I mean from the MMA world. So there's that floating around. You don't want that story. I don't know if Jake Paul really wants that attached to the fight. You know what I mean? Like, especially if that story dropped 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right?
Mhm.
So we were warning about his brain damage in 2018, and here's Jake Paul fighting him in 2025. Or that's what I'm thinking the fight will take. Yeah, it would. It
Sure.
would take
Yeah,
place in
most likely.
2025. So yeah, I'm proud of Rampage, but unfortunately, dude, I think you're just looking for a check, bro.
He is, and this is the thing. I like. I know that Jake Paul and his promotion has come out and made a statement talking about his fight with Tyson not being staged and not being scripted, yada yada. It is a legitimate fight that is on their record, and that means that you can't just come out and say, "Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I bought them, I paid the." Obviously, he's not gonna fucking say that. So I would not be surprised if this fight were to actually take place. I'm talking about Rampage and Jake Paul just gives him some fucking money, and be like, "Yeah, dude, take a dive." He's like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like, well,
yes.
his fight. If you watch Quentin Rampage Jackson's fight with Fedor Emelianenko, which I think was 2019, he barely took any shots, and he fucking just went, head first. Like, dude, that looked kind of obvious, like what the fuck. But regardless,
Especially
mm,
Miguel, especially with the money that Jake Paul can offer Rampage, is
yeah.
probably nothing what the UFC ever gave him, right?
No, especially not back then. If
Back
not
then,
now,
exactly,
definitely not back then. Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
at this point, I think he's just like he is gonna. And keep in mind, this if it's not gonna, but let's just say let's go down this rabbit hole. Let's say if the fight happens free on Netflix, it's gonna be Rampage being relevant again to some degree. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not just a nice payday that he's most likely gonna get, even though, like I said, he said it's I'll do it for free, right? And no pay.
Right.
Obviously, it's not really going to happen, right? Chances are he's going to get something, and if nothing else, his name is going to be back in the headlines again. We're like, oh shit, retired MMA guy, yada yada yada. Just the same way it was for Nate Diaz and Tyron Woodley and everything. They're at least relevant one more time, and on payday on top of that. So yeah, it's just I thought it was funny because I mean, yes, there have been other people who have tried calling him out, but you can tell when they call Jake out, it's not really legit. It's just like more in passing of a conversation, not because they legitimately had intentions of calling Jake out. This is the only one that seemed like he was hurt just as much as everybody else, that he went in there and did what he did against Tyson. So it's like, man, fuck that. Don't be doing that shit to fucking Tyson. Like, I'll show you.
Yeah. No,
That's what
and
this came across, right?
maybe there's a little bit of that there. Like he believes he can do it, doesn't mean he can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So it's just he's at 46. I think you said he was.
Yeah.
It just seems
46.
like he's been out of the MMA circle for a little bit too long to get back in it and fight a 20 something year old. What, he 25, 28, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
Dude in his prime that's training all the time. I do, I'm over this sideshow. I want to see Jake graduate, right?
Two.
In the either the boxing or MMA, and that's with either finishing this off with the Conor McGregor in the MMA, a Nate Diaz, right, in the MMA, or you go Chavez, whoever you want in boxing, because he got called out all over the place. So throw
Mhm.
them all in the hat and pick a name. But I think and I know they won't do it, but I'm just saying for my entertainment purpose, I want to see him graduate or at least come to a conclusion with this bullshit already. Right? You're gonna pick a sport and go for it, try to be a champion, or we can just stop all this because yeah, if he beat Rampage, you're big. So what, dude? It's just like the Mike Tyson thing. You know what I mean? So Rampage would really be selling tickets to diehard MMA guys that remember him, 15 fucking years ago when he was, really putting in the work, not just being a Rampage name. Because obviously in 2015, in my opinion, he's just a name at this
Mhm.
point, right?
Yeah. So that, and I agree with you there because I even mentioned it in the last show. Jake Paul's going to have to make a choice at some point, like either continue with this, and I don't think he's going to make the choice of trying to go legitimate, no matter what the fuck he says, because he's not going. Regardless of what he says, pay attention to what he does. Right at the end of the day,
Right.
forget what he says. Look, it doesn't matter how many times he says he wants to do. He's going to be a legitimate champion one day, and he's going to fight Canelo, yada yada, right? Which he's already eased off of that. But regardless, I don't think it's going to go that way, especially after the success of him and Tyson, 60 million, however many people on Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix, you said it yourself. Netflix got into his ears like, "Hey, stop calling on Canelo. Let's find somebody else. Let's go ahead and find a Masvidal or whoever the fuck else, just to get that out there." Chances are he's gonna continue down the route of the circus sideshow. So as much as you don't want to see it, trust me, I don't want to see it either. But he's not gonna graduate. He's gonna stick to this sideshow circus shit. And as long as Netflix sees the ratings come in, they don't give two fucks if
Right.
he graduates or not. They're going to continue down this route of the circus sideshow. But thought I'd throw that story in there because it's like, oh, finally some MMA dude, albeit overweight and 46, finally called him out on his shit, right? All right. Well, with a few minutes left here, we're roughly about 15 minutes on the show. Want to go over this weekend's card. I will be driving to Glendale, Arizona this weekend. Friday. I'm gonna take off Friday morning. I live in Vegas, so it's like a 5-hour drive. Nothing too bad. I like road trips. I like horror stories, so I turn on my road trip horror stories on my fucking YouTube. Hit the road and get to Glendale early Friday to see if I can make it to the weigh-ins. See what kind of footage I can get, see who the hell I can interview if I can find somebody for fuck's sake, or see what footage I can get just to post on our channel. And stay tuned, guys, because there's going to be something. I'm sure I'll find something on there. And of course, we're going to be talking about that fight the next day on Sunday. But Emmanuel Navarrete taking on Oscar Valdez in a rematch. These guys are going to be going for Navarrete's WBO junior lightweight title. That's going to be the main event. Now, the first time these guys fought, considering it was Oscar Valdez's weight class. Basically, he had been there much longer than Navarrete. I legitimately thought that Navarrete was just going to be too small. It was going to be too fragile, too weak. And I thought, you know what? Valdez is probably going to fucking take him. He's going to show him this is my weight class. Boy, was I wrong. Holy shit, was I wrong. Valdez looked horrible and got his ass handed to him pretty bad. I don't know how or why this rematch is happening.
Well, good. I'm glad I didn't miss something. But go ahead, continue.
Navarrete, he moved up to 135, right? It didn't go very well from his loss. He loses, he moves back down to 130, and boom, now we're here against Valdez again. But are we going to see, is it going to be a rematch or a replay? I guess, what's the word? There's another word for it. But what do you think is going to happen, Andrew? Are we going to see the same as their first fight, or is Valdez going to bring anything different this time?
Oh, definitely not bringing anything different. No,
oh shit! Okay.
No, Valdez has never brought in anything different. He changed trainers and was the same Valdez. So no, it's the same thing. It's will a lucky punch land? Will he land enough punches before Navarrete does? Because we've seen Navarrete kind of crack in the last few fights himself. Gaining weight hasn't really been that great for him too. His power didn't carry. He looks a little pudgier on the sides now. So
yeah,
all of this plays into effect. The only problem we have is we've seen this fight before and one guy annihilated the other, right? This goes back to what I was talking about with Top Rank on their drive in this sport, or who's actually putting these things, who's running the show right now. Because like you just said, it's a rematch that no one really knows why happened, right? Besides the fact that it was an easy fight to make. Is that the only reason why this happened? Was because they need, hey, you guys want to make a
was
quick
it a
dollar?
personal favorite to Valdez?
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah. And Top Rank maybe needed their electric bill paid. We got to do something.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I didn't miss anything there, because while you were talking, I'm trying to put something together on it, and you basically took the words that I was thinking. Is like, why was this made? Why was this fight made? And when you said you don't even know, well, that makes it better for me thinking the same thing. I don't know why this fight was made. I really don't. And this was part of the reason why I started thinking Bob wasn't as powerful with ESPN as I thought they once were going to be. And, in the beginning of this, I thought ESPN was going to be a lot bigger player in the boxing world. And I think they were on that path until that guy from Saudi Arabia showed up. And I think he's been a real game changer here with the money that he's bringing. He is ready to lose money other companies have already lost, and they're not willing to do it again, right? DAZN is like $1 billion in debt. They're like, fuck you, Eddie, right? PBC's been flipped off by everyone they fucking went to, right? They just keep losing their fucking shows. And De La Hoya is basically a whore to anyone that's willing to put his fighter on a fucking platform. So, so His Excellency steps in. He starts handing out all these big checks. He's handing out cars in the audience. He's handing out concerts. Like, he just looks like he's willing to lose money that other companies aren't. And so that's where I think ESPN might have brought Bob Arum in and said, look, in a year or two, maybe we might be out of boxing. You might, and Bob, you guys, I don't think wants to be flying to fucking Saudi Arabia every other fight to go kiss the ass of His Excellency to make sure that his stable has more fights the next year. It's just he's too old for this. He's made enough. Matter of fact, the day he sells, we all know didn't they say he's valued at $1 billion? Top Rank, the value of Top Rank is a
Oh
billion.
shit! Is it? Maybe.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
I
It's
believe
up.
it is.
Yeah.
Eddie was the had the most, but I believe Top Rank was up there on $1 billion too. So he's gonna be a rich old man. I don't know how many. I wish he would have some time to spend that money, not just give it to his kids.
Right.
But he would have to retire here pretty soon so he can enjoy some of that fucking $1 billion that he made in that company. Um, so yeah, with that being, that's what I mean by I don't know how much Top Rank is really invested in this sport anymore. Like I don't know, Miguel. Every time I open up and I see news on Top Rank, I think one day it's gonna say they're up for sale or they've been sold. And I think once we see ESPN back out, that'll be it for Bob Arum. Bob Arum will then call it quits once his deal with ESPN is done.
So you don't think it'll happen before? Like chances are it's going to be ESPN that pulls out first, and then Top Rank goes.
Yeah, when they're tell them they're not renewing the contract, that'll be the day he starts preparing his farewell tour on boxing. And it'll be
All right.
worth it. Yeah, it'll be worth it. He doesn't deserve having to go to the UK, Japan, and now Saudi Arabia. Why does he have to do all this traveling, man? He's given the sport his whole life, basically. You know what I mean? Fucking sell it off, relax, and that's it. Obviously, he's like L. Davis, man. He didn't trust anybody to give this team to while he was alive. We've
Mhm.
seen his son-in-law, I think it is, take the reins of the company for a few months or a few years. I'll give him a year maybe. He does something wrong, and Bob literally puts him back at security. And then the daughter, she's just not the person that has ever been in the front of Top Rank talking for them or answering questions or anything like that. So, what's it for at this point? Other than he's just maybe scared what retirement holds from him. He's one of those guys that thinks when he stops he's gonna croak. I don't know,
Mhm.
but I definitely don't think he's into all the fucking traveling that he's doing right now at his age.
You think I'll see him in Arizona? you
Oh
think you think
yeah,
he'll be there? He'll make it that?
he'll make it to Arizona hopefully. As long as that UK fight isn't Usyk the next week. Usyk Fury. I don't know. He might have
I
to.
think 2 weeks. The 22nd, I think it
Oh
is.
yeah, you're right. You're right. I thought it was the second week, but you're right. 21st. The 21st is. It's right before Christmas. Damn.
Yeah, it's the Saturday before Christmas. I want to say.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess we're gonna see. Well, keep in mind Navarrete is coming off a loss, right? He moved up to 135. He's moving back down. So not only is he coming off a loss, but he's coming back down in weight. You think, regardless of that, he still beats Valdez the same way he did before?
He's a favorite, but you're right. They both, there's a lot of unknown in this fight. Um, but I mean, Navarrete was able to handle him pretty good the first time. He should have that confidence going into this fight. As long as he has a repeat night, he should win. Um, so, so yeah, I'm going to stick with Navarrete at least as a clear cut favorite. If Valdez lands a lucky punch or hurts him, gets him out of there, well, that's boxing. But we've seen this fight before. Navarrete won.
Mm. Do you think he finishes Valdez this time?
Who knows, man? Who knows? Because you got to see how much fire Valdez has, right? This is one of those the loser might retire after the fight, right?
No,
Especially if it's
really?
Valdez.
Well, I mean, especially if it's Valdez, but
Bro,
if it's
that would be their
Navarrete,
second loss. I mean, there would be nowhere in the championship run. Like Valdez? Seriously, if Valdez loses, I don't want to see him anymore. Like Valdez is starting to become the Rocky Warriors of this era, bro. Like, how many title shots could one guy get, really? And he's not even that great in his title runs. Like, you got to remember, Valdez gave us way better fights, I believe, when he was coming up with the broken jaw, right, fighting through that, and then just more recently, he's been damaged goods. Um,
well, after the
so
Shakur fight, because leading up to it, he took off. I mean, he took out the boogeyman in Burchelt, and then it was Shakur, and then it hasn't been the same since Shakur. But that's
and that
relatively recent still.
and that Burchell fight's a good fight. It's not a great fight. There was not a lot of promote. It wasn't Barrera Morales, what I thought all of us thought it was going to be. And what I mean by that is the reaction of the fans, just the response that people gave to it. He didn't get a lot of exposure off of that knockout. Burchell just kind of like goes away like he was a fucking unknown, right? I mean, the guy like doesn't win again either. He was such a letdown after that loss, dude.
Yeah.
Doesn't he get knocked out again like 2 fights later? I
Yeah,
want to say
he
he gets
does.
knocked out
Actually,
again.
it's one of the last fights that me and Lee went to. He was here at Resort World. Nakatani, I think no, that's like Nakatalia or something like that. This
Okay.
Nigerian dude beat the fucking brakes off
Yeah.
Burchell. Yeah.
Burchell. Yeah. So he was a real letdown when he finally does make it to the big show. He gets knocked out with one punch and then like doesn't bounce back from it. So not that great. That fight didn't age well for Valdez. You know what I mean? I know it was a big fight in his career. As a fan, you know that was a big fight for both of those men. You remember the backstory was they were in the Olympics.
Mm.
Burchell, I'm going to say Burchell didn't like the fact that Valdez was an American going to Mexico and winning a Mexican shot on their Olympic team when Burchell was from Mexico and was not awarded that spot.
Yeah.
And so then they fight in the pros and he knocks him out with the one shot. Yeesh, that sucks. Talk about losing sleep the rest of your life. Fuck. Not only did you not make the Olympic team, but then the guy came back and knocked you out cold. The guy kind of ended his career, really.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
He hasn't been the same since. As a matter of fact, Burchell just fought and he won. Like some obscure somewhere I read recently. I was like, oh shit, he fought. I didn't even know he. And then on top of that, he actually did win. So, but yeah. So yeah, that's just I want to get your opinion on that. Navarrete and I was gonna say Burchell, then fucking Valdez, because we're gonna get the rematch and see how that goes. Even though I didn't get approved for credentials, I did buy myself a ticket. I bought some cheapo ticket there in the arena, and it's gonna be Footprint. I forget the name of the arena, but Footprint Center or something like that. I think it's where the Phoenix Suns play. I think I'm not entirely sure, but I want to say I've been to that arena before for some MMA fights back in the day, and it's a pretty solid arena, and it's a decent sized arena. But the ticket that I got, it wasn't pricey; it was like $100, a little over $100. But I did pay for like the parking because remember when we went to fucking
Haney.
Regis and Haney right at the Chase Center, and we had to fucking pay for parking. And that kind of sucked, but regardless. I went ahead and bought it with the tickets. Like, fuck it, let's just go ahead and do it. So you're gonna see me there. I'm gonna see if I can get by the camera and be like, hey, see if you can catch, a sighting of Migs there. But anyway, I just want to throw that at you because that's really the only fight that we're gonna have this weekend. The card is gonna be pretty decent, but of course the main event is the one we're gonna be looking forward to with Valdez and Navarrete rematch, I guess we can call it. All right, well. That pretty much does it. Andrew, was there anything else that you wanted to add to this? Is there anything that happened to come up on your feed while we were talking? Any sort of breaking news, or quite frankly, anything you'd like to get off your chest after this Thanksgiving weekend?
No, I'm sorry. I
That's
should
okay.
have thought of something, huh? But no, I'm not seeing nothing right off the top, bro.
No.
A lot of it is just Niner fans are on suicide watch right now.
35-10, I think, was the final.
Yeah, it's not looking
score.
good for Santa Clara tonight.
Well, couldn't happen to a nicer city.
But yeah, there's no breaking news as of it's hella funny too. As soon as we get off the air, my thing will reload and boxing will be the first story.
That's usually how it
A
is.
signed contract today for it, Ion B believe. I don't know where Shakur went to school. Everything but I don't believe maybe is what he wanted to say there. Everything I see on social media, so who knows what's what. All I can do is my part and believe it when I see it. And then Saint Mill put, "When you gonna fight, kid?" Who the fuck is Saint Mill?
What is it on Instagram or Twitter
It's
or what is
on
it?
Facebook. Boxing History and Highlights is putting breaking. According to Schofield, the fight against Shakur is a done deal. So they're saying again, this was 2 hours ago, that Schofield is saying it's a done deal with him. What a lousy fight. Damn, that fight's loud.
Mm.
I'm telling you, Miguel, that brings that card down. It really does. That does not help. Schofield versus Shakur does not do anything for His Excellency.
Man.
He's got to watch. I want to see him make it. I wanted to see one of his pay-per-views that he does at $20 actually bring in some decent numbers.
Mm.
But he's got to bring something that the American people really want to see. Schofield versus freaking Shakur is not it. What was the last fight that they had Shakur in where he got injured? Who was he supposed to
Um,
fight?
well, he was supposed to fight. What's his name? Cepeda. Initially supposed
No,
to be
no,
Cepeda.
no. There was another one where he got injured. Remember, Shakur's the one who got injured.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
because
Cepeda then got. So this is the second time Cepeda Shakur got canceled.
no, it's only been once. So
All
it was
right.
supposed to have happened next year at some point, and then Shakur gets injured after. So wait, are you saying like he got injured twice? Is that what are you
Yeah,
asking? He
because
got injured twice?
Shakur got injured for one of his fights already for His Excellency. Remember, it's when DAZN was going to do a
Oh,
pay-per-view.
that's right.
Yeah, so he's already done
Oh
this.
shit. Well, okay. So, yeah, let me look this up because I know it happened. I just don't remember who he was supposed to fight.
His
Um,
ex, they Bivol versus Better Beef. Bivol Better Beef was going to be free on ESPN. Then DAZN goes, no, we're going to put Shakur in a fucking pay-per-view against some nobody.
mm,
It doesn't do, and then they pull him because he got injured.
Joe Cordina. I think he's an English guy. Joe
Yeah.
Cordina. That was supposed to be the co-main event of the Better Be event Bivol.
Yeah,
So that's when he got injured, right? And then that didn't happen. So he's good now, or he's healing now,
he's
right?
good now.
And then now that he was healing, it was supposed to have been him and Cepeda, and then Cepeda got injured after this fight with Tevin, and then now it's up for grabs basically. But you're reading that it is going to be Schofield after all.
That's what it's saying right here. It's saying breaking news that
Mm.
Schofield is putting out there that they signed, and then you seen Shakur said he's seen that the fight is signed, but he's not going to believe it until it's all said and done. Basically, what I said earlier, because I am kind of getting tired of the announcements of these fights before they're actually signed. It's getting
Well,
kind of old,
someone needs to
man.
tell His Excellency to quit doing that shit because
Yeah.
look at us
And
with this.
even look at the Lomachenko tank issues situation, right? They did it twice with us for now Roach is back on. You know, it's like he's fighting Roach, he's not fighting Roach. Look at the Benavides. Benavides is fighting. Who did they say at
Uh,
first? And now it's Eric Morale,
David Morrell.
David
Yeah,
Morale. Yeah.
yeah, two
And it
Davids.
shows you how great of a fight that one is. Don't even know the guy's name.
I was excited for it when I told
Hey,
you. You're like, man.
hey, how did Frank Martin do? At least I remembered his name by the end, but he didn't
Yeah.
do that great.
Well, maybe you'll do the same thing for David Morrell. You'll remember it's David and not Eric.
Exactly, but hopefully he does better than Frank Martin did in his
Yeah.
shot. Eric Morale was a fighter, though. He fought Eric Morales. I remember that.
Oh,
Eric
yes.
Morale was a fighter. Yeah. Yep.
I think the last name was spelled differently, but similar.
Yeah, true. You're probably right.
All right. Well, okay. Well, that concludes our show. We go from having Schofield Shakur to not having it, and apparently having it again. All right. Shows how many things can change within the course of a show. But
And how many people want to be first, too, Miguel? Right? That's a
Oh, I
part of the
see.
problem is everyone takes a rumor and they run with it like it's fucking gold. And then you got guys like, no, I didn't say that. So I'm looking at my Instagram real fast just to make sure nothing broke on there. Because I really do hate when I look at my internet 2 minutes later and it has a story.
It happens. I mean, we can only avoid it for so much.
So they're showing Inouye for some reason. Top Rank showing Inouye does just, I think, just highlights. So we're good, bro. That
All
is
right.
it for tonight.
Okay, well, then that will do it for tonight. The next time you'll hear from us will be most likely a week from now after Valdez Navarrete 2, where I will be at. So I'll definitely do my best to get some sort of footage for shits and giggles because I like doing that. So make sure to stay tuned to our YouTube channel. There might be some footage of that fight, something there. And chances are I'll be recording next Sunday from my hotel room still in Glendale, Arizona. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week, please. Make sure to tune in next weekend where we talk about wrapping up, or not wrapping up, I guess the recap of Valdez and Navarrete, amongst other things, whatever else has broken between now and then. So enjoy the rest of your week. We will see you guys next weekend. Peace.